So I got a package in today. So I have been wanting this for a while and I just haven't ordered it. In this styrofoam box is a, I thought it was broken there, is a crucible. So you may be wondering why I needed this and what it's for. I'll go show you. All right, so I have here 2 garbage cans full of aluminum. And I am going to melt it down and then make it into something, but for right now, it's kind of bleeding out. So then my plan is now to melt it all down into this and make it into nice large bricks. Oh, she's looking nice and toasty there. So that fire you see isn't actually the metal burning, it's the paint and the soda residue in it that's burning. It smells horrible, don't want to breathe it in, but it definitely gives a cool video. Alright, so you all know by now that everything I do on this channel, I do like to connect to the Bible to give, biblical illustrations of things that go on in our daily lives. I mean, me melting down aluminum isn't daily, but it's a hobby. It's something that I enjoy doing. And one of the things that I really like about doing it is the process of taking something scrap, like pop cans or aluminum shards and stuff like that, and melting them down and then recreating them into something else. Now though, today all I'm doing is condensing all that into big bricks. The purpose and illustration is still there. And I do apologize about the noise, but what can you do when you're blowing 1500 degrees of hot fire at something? So this process of melting something down and recreating it gives us a picture of redemption. This whole recycling one thing and turning it into another is the same thing that God has done in our lives. We were this scrap, we were enemies to God, hostile to Him and the things of God, and by nature, we were children of wrath. But then God took us while we were just this useless scraps and transformed us to become in the image of His Son, adopting us as His children, justifying us by the blood of Christ. And so the same process of me melting something down and turning it into something else is the same process as our sanctification. God takes us as sinners and transforms us to be these new creations who will be glorified before Him in heaven one day. And so it's like this picture of God recycling people in the way that I'm recycling pop cans. It actually is a pretty cool comparison, and the Bible does actually pick up on this. It uses the theme of weeds and chaff and how those are separated from the good stuff and thrown into the fire. And so we were all at one point weeds and chaff, and the only thing to do with us was to throw us in the fire or redeem us into something new. And through Christ's sacrificial death on the cross, He took our penalty, He paid our debt, and now we can be forgiven and justified in Him to become these new creations that will forever be with Him in heaven. Now, if you've noticed by the time lapse, the crucible is getting pretty full of aluminum. And you know what? Why don't we get over there right on now? so that's it for tonight. I have a third pour involving all of that stuff, but as you may be able to tell, it's too big to fit in the crucible, so it all needs to be cut down. And since it's already 8 o'clock at night, I'm not gonna annoy the neighbors by bringing out a saw and an angle grinder to chop them all up. So I'll do that tomorrow, and I'll check in with you then. All right, so it's the next day. We're gonna get the furnace lit, and we got a lot of cutting to do. Alright, I'm going to attempt to show you something really cool with just how much heat there is, how fast things will melt when you put it in pretty thick. So there you have it. This entire thing came out to 34 pounds, which is quite a lot for me to have. I'll make good use of it at some point. It's just really cool to see the transition from having scraps to turning it into this, and then you can see all that junk and waste that I had to pull out that separates from the metal when you heat it up. Those things rise up to the top and then you scoop them out, and how that's a picture of our sin. And God is, he's melting us down, he's purifying us, and he's scooping out all that trash and all that garbage that is in us and making us into these nice clean aluminum things that he can use. Just really cool picture to see. Wanted to bring you along for this. It took me 3 days, and as you can see, many pours to actually get through it all, but freed up a lot of space. So that's all that we got for today. Hope that you subscribe to the channel, that you like this video, and that you remember to know the word, do the word, and share the word. But as always, we do it in love.